Charles, peace was never an option, Christian says. Okay. It must be working. Christian said something. Hi, Christian. Hope you're doing well. Hi, Mandy. Hi, President. Oh, yeah, I know. Hunter, of course. How are you guys doing? Hopefully everybody's well on this Sunday evening. I know, this is the first one you've made it to. I mean, this is only my third one, I guess. But the sound is buzzy. Mandy says the sound is buzzy. Is it buzzy? Oh, Athena. Hi, Carlos. Hola. It's a bit too quiet.
Just keep quiet now. See if they can hear you.
Okay, how about now? Is that any better on the sound thing? What? Better? Okay. I think last time I tried to use my mic too, and it wasn't working for like the live stream, but it does really well for the videos when I make them. So. What are you looking for? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I've got a few things. Okay, Mandy says it's still buzzy, but she thinks it's maybe just for her. Does it sound good on your phone?
It's got a little bit of a crackle.
I don't know either. Okay. Well, it's always something, but it's okay. I have a few things I wanted to do tonight while we talk. I went and bought a few more succulents recently, just because I was trying to find a few more things I could do videos on. Not that I'm short on content necessarily. I still have lots of topics I can do, but I kind of wanted to do a few more plant care videos before we wrap that up. What did I get recently? I actually did get a cryptanthus because everybody was asking about cryptanthus. You're fine. I'm not really sure what species of cryptanthus this is, but it does look like it was flowering. I like that it's brown, actually. Normally, maybe that wouldn't appeal to me, but something about it being called cryptanthus and then also being brown and looking a little bit dead is kind of nice. So I figure I'm gonna put this, I'm probably gonna put it in this fish pot. I'm not really sure why. Wes has really gotten into like decorative pots recently. Hi, Dragonite. Yes. He is kind of burnt out on my terracotta pots, so he's wanting to convert a few things to like interesting new pots. So there you go. We're gonna put it in this. I've got a couple of other ones recently, but as far as pots go, another plant I actually got was this Albuca frizzle sizzle. I don't know how much you guys know about this. I don't know a ton about it yet, so I'm gonna sit with it for a little bit. I'm gonna spend some time with it, kind of see what it does. But it is kind of interesting how it just comes out of this small little opening. Yes, as soon as we started buying more pots, Christian, I thought about you because I know that you are sick of my terracotta pots. Look, I mean, look, that one's in a white pot, right? Okay, don't look at the other ones. They're all in terracotta. That's my succulents, though. Those don't count. But I bought this. I know this is terracotta, but I bought this big pot. Mandy says she killed her frizzle sizzle, or maybe it was overwatered when she got it. This one's really dry. Like, the one I have actually has a few brown edges on it. So I'm thinking that it's, I mean, the soil's super dry too. So as soon as I repot it, I'm probably gonna water it just so that it, you know, doesn't completely crumble on me. But the guy said it'll get a lot more grass, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I never trust the original soil either. Like anytime I get a new plant, I repot it. Like it's just, it needs to be refreshed, you know, it needs to be in a new pot so that it can grow and everything. Plus, I mean, I don't typically keep stuff in plastic pots anyway. But I bought this one because it's kind of flat and it's got a lot of roundness on it because some of the succulents I bought are actually very small. So I kind of want to do a little planter. So I thought we could do that together. I don't typically do planters like this because I like my stuff to be separate. Like I like being able to just take care of things individually, but because they're so small, for example, I got a pair of these Titanopsis, would it be Titanopses? I don't know. But Titanopsis is a pretty cool little succulent. They don't really get that big, and I think that they feel really unique when you touch them. I don't know if you guys have ever had Titanopsis, but I'm kind of a fan. So I bought two just because they're so small, and I also have a this aloe, which aloe was it? A pheasant breast. So I'm kind of going for a white theme in this planter, and I'm gonna have maybe 5 or 6 plants in it, and they are all gonna be succulents. So it should be good. Christian says, studies have shown plants benefits from each other's chemical activity in the soil. I did not know that. I know that a lot of people do planters, and they try to grow things that are similar together. So if you ever do a planter, you're probably not going to want to put a tephro-cactus with a fern, right? Because those have completely different needs. One takes a ton of water, one takes almost no water. So you kind of have to keep that in mind when you're doing planters, that they need like similar light requirements, similar soil requirements, similar watering. And of course, succulents all have very similar needs, so that's why I'm going to do this. Dragonite says, I would do big planters with a bunch of plants in them, but I always get distracted and forget what I wanted to put together. Yeah, if I do a planter, like I have a Syngonium planter, I guess, which I can't quite reach. I still have the Syngonium planter from my Syngonium video. It's just not doing as well as I want it to, but Planting Mandy says, I've done succulents together, but not tropicals. And then Dragonite says, I do have one pot with a bunch of... Why do the comments disappear so fast? That is so annoying. Like, I try to read them really quick, and they just... I don't know. Maybe I need to change a setting or something, but yeah, the Syngoniums just aren't really doing very well together, and I don't know why, but I think I might end up separating them and possibly just getting rid of one of them, just because, I don't know, I don't really need all of these different Syngoniums. I just sort of ended up with them as I acquired plants. Christian says the comments stay for... Yeah. Well, because I'm recording it, since I'm recording it on my phone, all I really see is me, and then the comment will pop up for maybe like 5 seconds, and then it'll disappear. But, Christian says you can't have enough Syngoniums, and Dragonite says I don't need them, I just ended up with them. I mean, come on, you're out, you're plant shopping, and you're like, wow, that's a really cool Syngonium, never seen that one before, better get it. Like, I'm that way with, maybe not with Syngonium so much, but with just plants in general. I should do a second screen. I think next time I do a live stream, I'm gonna have it on my laptop as well. That's a good idea. That way I can actually continue to see the comments. That's a good idea. Maybe Wes will see this and he'll bring the laptop down for me. Mandy says, do we ever really need them? I am gonna say yes. Oh, look, Leviathan tipped me $20. That is Wes, you guys. So it went from it went from our bank account back to our bank account, I guess. Thank you. What were we talking about? Oh, a second screen. Yes, I need to get a second screen so I can see the comments. And we're gonna do this planter. And what else did I have to show you guys? Oh, if you remember, thank you. I can't do it with one hand. Yes. If you guys remember, I planted these sunflowers out of a little kit, and this is how big they've gotten. They're actually growing pretty fast. I don't really know how long they'll last, and I don't even know if they'll actually bloom, but it's cool that they're growing so prolifically. And actually, they already have roots. I don't know if you can see that. They already have roots coming out of the bottom. They're very fine roots, but they're there. So, just smells like foliage. I like that smell. And the other thing was I had done cuttings of my saxifraga, my strawberry begonia, and they took, I don't think I pulled a single bad one out of here. I put like maybe 5 or 6 different pieces that I had cut off my mother plant, which is right here, right there. And they are already putting off their own little shoots. So yeah, if you guys ever have a saxifraga and you want to propagate it, they are very easy to propagate, and it would make a good gift. I mean, this looks like I bought it in the store, right? It's nice and full. It's just not very big yet, but it's going to get big pretty quickly. So I don't know. I just thought that was pretty cool. I didn't even really plan on keeping this, so I don't know. Maybe I'll give it away. My mother plant keeps putting off the, what did you guys call them? I always just call them offshoots, but there's actually a word for it. But here, I'm just gonna grab it. Stolons. I think that is actually it. I think it is stolons. But it is already putting off a bunch more. And I cut this, I don't know, maybe a month ago. I just cut them all off because I don't really want it to get like gnarly like this. Like I think that it, but it is a very big full saxifraga. Like it's a very big full plant. So, I mean, one like this little piece here is ready to be put in soil and it'll just take immediately. So just something to keep in mind if you guys ever get a saxifraga or already have one. Let me put this back without destroying it. Okay. What else do I got here? Let's see, we did the, thank you, Mandy. We did the sunflowers and we did the cuttings on this. Let's put that right up there. All right, where should we start? Let's start with also, if you guys have anything that you want to discuss or have any topics you want to bring up or any questions you want to ask, you go right ahead. I'm going to go ahead and start repotting this, what is it called? Albuca. I'm trying to memorize that. Albuca. Okay. Dragonite says, I really want to grab a saxifraga, but I'm forcing myself not to buy any more plants until I figure out the where are they going to go situation. I've brought almost all of my plants in because for those of us in North America, or actually the Northern Hemisphere, it is now autumn, so it's just going to start getting cooler soon. And of course, plants that grow out of stolons are some of the worst when it comes to where they're going to go. Yeah, well, they get very, like, not leggy, but they just get very full and kind of, I said gnarly, but there's a better word for it, unkempt. But Christian says he joined the dark side and got some floating plants. Any particular ones that you got that you're having success with? What are you shaking your head for? Oh, are you going to leave me your phone?
What?
Are you going to leave me your phone?
Yeah. That's my old phone.
Oh, it is. Okay. Let me just turn this down. Love you. Okay. Azola and one other. I just got, what do we get? All the names off here. Well, I mean, floating plants, that's going to be a whole different, world, really. I mean, I always thought it'd be cool to have like a water lily, and I've seen them sell kits and stuff. I just don't know how, like, reliable those are as far as, indoor plants go. Oops, tipped that right over. 2 are actually ferns. Well, I'm trying to think of which ferns they would be. I know there's a Java fern that's kind of an aquatic plant, but I think it's technically semi-aquatic. Hunter just said, what is autumn? I don't get that. Hunter is a friend of mine from the southern United States, and down there they don't really experience autumn. I mean, it cools off a little bit, but they don't go through the dramatic season change that like basically the central and northern U.S. goes through. So it stormed here last night, and next week it's actually supposed to be much cooler. Not much cooler, but probably in like the 60s and 70s Fahrenheit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The trees are already changing. It's exciting, but it's sad because summer's over. I mean, summer's my favorite season, but it's okay. I'm ready for a break. Yeah. Mandy says they're already getting yellow leaves in Canada. The leaves will be beautiful here for about a week, and then a windstorm will blow through and take them all off. It's so annoying because you wait all year to kind of see these beautiful trees and the beautiful colors, and it's just gone instantly. Let's see. Christian says Azolla cristata minima and ferns are ferns, but you wouldn't guess. Same family. Speaking of kind of the aquatic plant, area, I think I'm going to look at getting a couple of more for my tank. I want to get an Alternanthera because my terrestrial Alternanthera is pretty much toast, and maybe just like one more just to kind of fill out my tank. My tank's only about like maybe that wide. I think it's a 3 gallon, maybe a 5. No, I think it's 3. So just big enough for a few plants and a fish. And then U.S. Chippy. Hi Chippy. It's good to see you again. Thank you for coming back. What plants do you find the most fascinating? That is a good question. It's hard not to be fascinated by carnivorous plants, although I haven't really ventured too much into that world yet. But it's definitely, those are definitely interesting. I guess I'm most fascinated maybe by some succulents, just because succulents look so bizarrely different from each other depending on what part of the world they're from. Whereas a lot of like tropical plants, I mean, they're green, they have leaves, they have different variegation and stuff, but the general rules apply, right? Green leaves, a certain shape, but succulents, there's just so many different kinds. I don't know. It's interesting, but. And then I'm really trying not to butcher your name. Esquirrou. That almost sounds French. Esquirrou petit osso. Hi. How are you? Thank you for being here. What were we doing besides repotting this? We were talking about fall, and yeah. Anyway, if anybody doesn't know, I did a video on fall a year ago now, and we kind of talked about why the leaves change color, and basically the plant stops producing, and when I say plant I mean tree, the tree stops producing chlorophyll, and chlorophyll is what makes leaves green. So when chlorophyll production stops, all you're left with are the other chemicals that are different colors when the light hits them. So you have your yellows and your oranges and your reds. I cannot remember for the life of me off the top of my head what the two chemicals are. One of them does red and the other one does like yellow and orange. If somebody could look that up and put those two in there, because I really like the name of one of them. How can I not remember it? Hang on, I'm combing the annals of my brain here. I'm waiting on Christian to come through. No, not xylem. Yeah, carotenoid is one of them. That's the yellow. Xylem is responsible for water transport in the plant. The phloem is the food transport nutrients, which we have not done the video on plant anatomy yet, but we are going to get there, I swear. Yeah, carotenoid, and the other one is the one I like. Somebody's going to find it. I just feel like it's going to be Christian, because he's the X-Man. As we wait with bated breath. Let me see if I can get this out of here without destroying this thing. I mean, it's pretty, it's fairly root bound. Well, you knew I was going to say it eventually. Get a little close-up of those roots there. I mean, it's not like totally root bound, but it's enough that I can put it into this slightly bigger pot and feel pretty comfortable with it. So, whoops. And I am just using a cacti succulent mix. I don't use anything special usually for my soils just because I haven't really needed to. I mean, it's fun to mix your own soils, and I have done it for certain things. Anthocyanins, yes, that's the one I like. Anthocyanins are responsible for the red pigment in leaves. There you go, anthocyanin. Isn't that such a cool word? Thank you, Christian. Yes, we're just gonna get that in there, about like that. I always try to make sure that like when I rotate it, that it's all like even, because I'm kind of picky about it. But just gonna drop some extra in here. That way, by the time I get to making the plant care video of this thing, hopefully I have a little more to say about it than nothing. I mean, it's cool. It's a cool looking plant. It kind of reminds me of a wild onion a little bit. I don't know if you guys have ever been out in a yard and kind of seen that grass that's a little bit taller than the regular grass, and then you kind of pick it and it smells like onions. It's because it's onions. I used to like to pick those as a kid just so that I could kind of smell them, but chives. Are they chives? Maybe they are chives. But I mean, aren't chives just like green onions? I actually don't know. That should actually... They go dormant in the summer, and that's where I screwed up. They go dormant in the summer? Okay. Didn't know that. So, there. That should actually be pretty nice. There were some rocks and stuff on top of it, but they're kind of trashy, so I think I'm just going to leave those off. I've got some nice rocks I could put on top of it if I really want to, but I don't know. I think it looks fine the way it is. Christian says, green onions are something else, but I don't know the taxonomy. They could be related. My guess is that they are probably in the same family, but not necessarily the same genus. Mandy says, when it's hot, they drop their leaves and they're supposed to keep them in the shade and don't water at all. Well, we'll see how long this lasts then. You know, it wasn't like a plant that when I walked by it, I was like, wow, I love that plant, I gotta have it. I just know that somebody at one point had requested more caudiforms? Is that the right word? So I saw it and I thought of that. And I thought, well, I better experiment with this and do a video on it. Chippy says, what soil are you using? I am just using Miracle Grow cactus, palm, and succulent mix, or citrus. Nothing fancy, store-bought. It's not a plug for Miracle Grow, it's just what I use. It's what my mom used, so, you know, old habits die hard. But it's just, the nice thing about it is that it's nice and kind of like light, this particular one is. It's got a lot of sand, it doesn't really, you know, it's not going to retain a ton of moisture, so it's good for succulents. It's also good for palms because palms like good drainage. They just need to be watered like twice as often probably as succulents just because they appreciate all that extra water. We haven't done a palm video in a while, but I recorded one 2 or 3 nights ago, and we're going to talk about the last palm on our list. Or last 2. I don't know, something like that. What do you guys use for your succulents? Do you use anything special? Do you mix your own succulent cactus soil? I'm just gonna move that over here. Ooh. Mandy hates succulent soil. She says the sand compacts too much. I haven't had too big of an issue with it. But I have noticed that when I first plant things in like the cactus succulent soil, the water has a hard time like absorbing it first. I almost have to train the soil to absorb the water like efficiently. Mandy says she uses regular potting mix and 50% perlite, which is a perfectly acceptable mix because that is extra drainage and everything. Dragonite says that he uses whatever I can find in the store mixed with perlite. There you go. Chippy says 1-to-1 succulent potting mix and perlite. Got it. And Christian says Miracle Grow amended bark. Amended? Yeah, amended bark or vermiculate or sand. Yes. Yeah, see, those are all perfectly good mixes. And if anybody else is watching, you notice that most of them said perlite because perlite is the white pieces. Of course, they're really small in the soil that you see, and they're basically just kind of like they're blown. Isn't it like volcanic glass? I'm close. Somebody correct me. I did this video on soil, and anyway, like it's good for plants. Like it's good because it keeps the soil from compacting too much, and it keeps it kind of light and airy so that they don't get root rot or anything. Because vermiculate is similar to perlite, isn't it? But it's different. Like yeah. Dragonite says it's some kind of rock baked at volcanic temperatures. Okay, yes. Mandy says volcanic glass. Because vermiculate is something similar, but it's not the same, I think. I really need my regular soil. That's what I want to use for this cryptanthus. I don't really want to use my succulent soil on that. I do have a second screen now, so if you guys comment, I can actually see it. Vermiculate holds more moisture but allows for drainage. Eggshells are good too. Yeah, eggshells would be a good organic source. I know that at work, we don't sell vermiculate by itself. I do sell perlite by itself and sphagnum, but of course sphagnum is something completely different. But yeah, I've never tried eggshells. We don't actually eat a lot of eggs in my house, so maybe that's why, but, okay, 2 seconds. Let me grab my other soil. Okay. Mandy says vermiculate is pretty sparkly gold. Didn't know that. Have I ever even used it? And am I saying it right? I'm saying vermiculate. Is it vermiculite? I think vermiculate sounds better, but that's just me. Here's my regular soil that I keep in just a little shoebox. I just refill it every now and then. I think right now this is the Miracle Grow Tropical Mix. It's in like a pink bag, and it actually has lava rock in it, like pieces of lava rock, just for the kind of extra drainage. Not so much extra like succulents, but enough, you know, because a lot of tropical plants appreciate the aerated soil. Here's my fish. Here's my cryptanthus. That should fit quite nicely. Christian says, I planted a rare succulent sprout with vermiculate to live dangerously. Nobody lives on the edge like you. I'm gonna fill this just a little bit. Oh. Let's see. Oh, there we go. That should be better. You know what I can't stand about frickin' bromeliads is that their leaves are serrated. Like I'm trying to pot this thing and it's just like slicing me. Okay. Get that in there. Do you guys have an area where you actually repot your plants? Like, do you have a specific area where you actually do your work? because I just kind of do it wherever. Like right now, I'm at my dining room table making a huge mess. Christian says use lava rocks or pumic. It's an arid variety. Oh, okay, yeah. I would love a workbench, honestly, where I could do this, but I just don't have one. I don't know where I would put the thing. Yeah, like I'm making a huge mess, but it's okay. It's gonna be worth it when it's done. Most of my house is hardwood floors, except for upstairs. So I'm not worried about like any of that, like messing up the carpet or anything. Wow, this fish holds a lot more soil than I thought it would. Chippy asks, what about plants gives you the most joy? I would say I just like taking care of things that are living. Like I like being able to see something grow in my care and prosper and thrive, really. And of course, plants have all of the benefits of, you know, giving us fresh air and kind of bringing us back to nature and everything. And I mean, it's just satisfying caring for something. Like I don't have kids, you know, I have animals and stuff, but plants are different. Plants are, there's something more zen about plant care. I think that, you know, other people might agree with that or kind of relate to that. Dragonite says, a few months ago, someone gave me a sprout of something with serrated leaves, and neither of us know what it is, but it could possibly be used as a letter opener. Well, you know, they break off pieces of aloe for, you know, to put on burns and stuff. Maybe you could break off a piece of that and make it a letter opener. But I mean, you might also want to go back in time, because I don't know anybody that still uses letter openers. But if I get a letter in the mail, I'm just like, rip that sucker open. But I don't know. I mean, I'm taking Chippy's question and I'm asking you guys. You know, like Mandy and Dragonite and Christian. Like, what about plants gives you guys the most joy? What is it about plants that makes you guys tick? Because I know all of you are really passionate about plants, and I've known y'all for a while now. Okay, I think I've about got this the way I want it. I think it's gonna be good enough anyway. I can't believe you guys talked me into buying a bromeliad. I'm just blown away by that, because I really just haven't been a fan. But I mean, I do like this one. I do think it looks cool. Christian says, plants help me stay connected to nature. Perfect answer. That is a perfect answer. Said very concisely. Dragonite says, I like getting up in the morning and seeing if anything started pushing out a new leaf and stuff like that. Yep. Christian says, find out where your cryptanthus live because some want to be damp. This one was damp. So I'm going to try to use an app and just kind of see if I can figure out what species it is. And Mandy says, plants are her self-care. Something just for me. I would agree with that too. There it is. There is our wacky cryptanthus in this little fish pot. I don't know. I think that's fitting, actually. Yeah. Hopefully it lasts a while. I hope it does, because it is pretty cool, actually. I don't know. Does it look like he's wearing a hat, or maybe just has hair? Chippy says, they keep me grounded, helps with the depression. I agree with that too. I don't know if I've told this story yet. I may have told it on one of my videos in the past, but when I was a kid, I had a friend and we would have sleepovers, you know, and when I would go to his house, Like, his parents didn't have any plants, and they also didn't have any pets. So that's like two things that when I would go over there felt really off. Like, the place always felt very sterile. It was a nice house. They had nice furniture. You know, it wasn't messy or anything. It wasn't a bad house. But that lack of living, you know, entities within the house just made it feel so different. Like, it gave off such a different vibe. Maybe you guys have had friends that you visited or something, and it's just not the same as walking into a house that has animals running around and greenery. So I think that the fact that we can feel those experiences just tells you that having living things around helps us feel better, helps us feel connected to nature, and helps us feel not depressed and feel alive. Okay, and now our coup de grace is to do this planter. Let's see here. Whoops. Speaking of living things, I did do another little thing the other day, unrelated to plants, but I went to the pet store, which I shouldn't have done, and they had a cup, like where I got my original hissing cockroaches. They had a cup that had a couple more in it, and one of them was dead, and the other one was still alive, and he was probably about that big, and I could see that it's a male, and so they have like little bumps on their heads when they're males. And I got rid of my female because she was pregnant and I didn't want more roaches. So my one male I feel like he's lonely, so I got him a little buddy. And it's sad because, of course, they're sold as feeders, and I get that, you know, circle of life. But when I put him in the cage, I put like fresh food in there, like some apples and stuff. And he just sat there and ate for like 20 minutes because he was just starving. You know what I mean? And most people would be like, oh, cockroach, that's disgusting. But I mean, I look at that thing like it's just like it's a living thing, and it was starving. You know, that's sad. So I'm glad that I was able to like rescue it. I know that seems maybe silly, but let me catch up here. Chippy asks, what got you into plants? My mom. Without a doubt, it was my mom. I grew up around houseplants. She had plants before I was born. In the 70s and 80s, like, plants were having a really big explosion of popularity, and my mom was on that train. So I grew up with things like, you know, Norfolk Island pines that were taller than me, and this really big weeping fig, this Ficus benjamina that was gigantic, and I always had to pick up the dead leaves that would drop. And when I was old enough, she let me start like watering and helping her take care of them and everything. And being a kid, it was just really cool, like getting in the pots, like in between the pots and stuff, and you could pretend you were like in a jungle, and I don't know. I always appreciated my mom's love of like nature and things. And I guess when I was a little older, I started doing the same thing and taking care of plants. So I ended up getting a minor in plant science in college, and just kind of collecting plants and taking care of them. And eventually I came up with the idea that I wanted to share the knowledge and try to make a community for people to come and discuss plants, and that's where this channel was born. So it's been a long journey, but yeah. Christian says, how do you get rid of hissing roaches? I take them to the pet store. I've had to do it before. When the female had babies the first time, I loaded them all up in a shoebox. Well, it wasn't an actual shoebox, but like a little container, and took them up there, and I said, here you go, you know, and they just sell them as feeders, you know, so I just donated them basically. Mandy says, do the males not fight? They don't. So cockroaches, at least not hissing cockroaches, they are not competitive with each other, especially if there's not females around. But there are definitely insects in the insect world, which we'll talk a little bit about at some point, because insects are vital to plants, right? There are certain males that will fight for dominance. Like, you see like those big rhinoceros beetles that like they lock their you know, their horns and stuff, and they like throw each other off of the tree limb. It's pretty cool. That's actually one of my bucket list items is I want to hold a rhinoceros beetle because I think that would be such a cool experience. But so birthday gift ideas. Let's see. Dragonite says, adding feeling empathy for cockroaches to the list of things I didn't expect to happen today. Yeah, it's not just cockroaches. It's most life. The exceptions are like things that are dangerous or pests. Like maybe not pests, but things like ticks and mosquitoes and wasps. You know, like get those out of here. Like those, ugh, gross. Ugh. Anyway, I've actually spent some time over the summer fighting wasps in lawn and garden at work, so that was fun. I got attacked a few times, but I didn't get stung, so that's good. And then Mandy asks, what was your major? My major was in English. I majored in English, and I minored in plant science, and I also minored in French. So, yes. I've always been kind of, I don't know, one of those people that likes to know a little about a lot of things rather than just knowing a lot about one thing. So I just like to pick up little pieces of knowledge here and there. But I really like writing, and I like kind of studying the history of the English language, which is really fascinating, figuring out where words came from, because English is a beautiful language. It's not a romance language, but it has such a rich history that, you know, I'm glad that it's one of the top spoken languages in the world because it's amazing. And French, well, I took French in high school, and I thought, well, I might as well just do it in college, and now I'm trying to learn Spanish because I don't remember very much French. There's not very many French-speaking people who live here, but there's a lot of people who speak Spanish, so. Mandy also says, I don't mind insects dying, but I don't like anything suffering. Yeah. Yeah, like I don't want things to suffer. Even like things that I don't like, I try to kill them quick. Like wasps, you know, that spray you use to kill nests, you know, it kills them kind of instantly. I just touched a cactus and got a thorn. Okay. But yeah. And then Dragonite says, some people have a hard time keeping etymology and entomology straight. Seems your solution is just to do them both. Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Etymology is the study of, is it the study of language or the study of words? I'm trying to remember exactly what it covers. And entomology, of course, is the study of insects. Yeah. And you guys would laugh at me for a couple of reasons. Word origins, yes. Ow, frick, I just touched that cactus again. Get these things out of my way. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at those thorns I just got in my frickin' finger. Damn it. Ugh. See, why do I own cactuses, guys? What was I saying? You guys would laugh at me because, like, today, for instance, I'm driving home and there is a vulture sitting in the road eating on like a carcass of something, and I'm like, I pull right up to this thing and it doesn't move. So like I had to actually get out and kind of like move the carcass off the road because that bird was gonna get hit. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want that, because vultures are beautiful birds. Like I know people think, oh, they eat dead things, that's gross, but they're amazing. Anyway, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, I love cactuses though, cacti, but it's just, I always end up touching them. And this tephro cactus, it doesn't even look like it has thorns on it, right? It has these long little paper pieces, but they're not thorns. But the thorns are actually at the base of the paper. And so sometimes I forget and I just end up bumping into it and just getting, I got one more in there that I gotta get out. But like, I know that my neighbors probably think I'm nuts because in the spring I'm like crawling around the yard looking at all the flowers popping up, trying to figure out what they are, like looking at the trees, you know. But anyway, somebody said something else I was going to comment on. Christian says I save bugs from drowning. Me too. Yeah, me too. I was gonna say maybe not if it's like a horsefly, because I'm not gonna try to touch a horsefly because they suck your blood and stuff. But and horsefly bites. Horseflies have these basically these two little things that poke you, and they kind of grind together like this to like basically generate as much blood on you as they can to suck up. So horseflies are on my list of things I kill. But yeah, Dragonite was talking about word origins. You can start to see patterns in certain words, and you can start to figure out where they're from. So, for example, in English, if you have a word that has GH, like the silent GH, like thought and ate and thorough, words like that are from Old English, like the original version of English from like, 1,000 years ago. Actually, it's older than that, but Romance languages don't have that. So the words that we absorbed from like French and Latin and stuff, they're not going to have that GH. Anyway, chili, chilice. Yeah, it's a word like that. I'm not like, I know a lot more about plants than I do about insects, but yeah, it's a word like that. It's not proboscis, because that's what like butterflies use to drink nectar. Dragonite says, so that's what I got bit by that one time. If you guys don't know what a horsefly is, or you've never seen one, look it up. Look it up in Google, because they are disgusting. I mean, housefly is probably about that big at its biggest, and a horsefly, probably about that big. Like, they're no joke. And they only seem to show up when you're swimming. I've noticed that. They just seem to be around pools a lot. But, yeah. Really annoying. Yeah, Hunter knows. They're probably down where you live all the time. And then I've got a friend that lives in Venezuela, and basically the closer to the equator you get, the more exotic that everything gets. Like, the more exotic the animals get, the more exotic the plants get, because life tends to want warm tropical environments. That's why the further north you get, like, northern Canada, it gets really boring. Not saying that Canada is boring. I'm saying that like the species and everything, the diversity there, you start just getting pine trees and bears and snow rabbits and things, because it's just so cold. Oh, you live close to a farm? Then yeah, you probably see a lot of things. Where was he going? Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, my friend in Venezuela, he said that the centipedes down there get like gigantic, like giant, multiple inches, like a foot long centipedes, which is terrifying. I think all species of centipedes are venomous, if I'm not mistaken, but millipedes are okay. Millipedes are the cute ones that won't bite you, but that's why I like spiders. Nothing venomous can survive here, Mandy says. That's true. It gets too cold. And then Christian says centipedes are really scary. And Carlos, that's my friend in Venezuela. They're like spiders with legs. They really are. We call them escalonopendras. Escalonopendras. That is a really long word. And then Dragonite says, one of my sisters went to school in the Caribbean, and she tormented me by telling me all about the massive, honking, prehistoric insects that lived down there. Yeah. Escalopendras. Escalopendras. Hopefully I never have to say that word in Spanish, because if I'm talking about it, it's probably not a good sign. Yeah. Well, there is a house centipede that is actually supposed to be good. And if you type in house centipede, they have legs that are like bigger in the front and shorter in the back, and they mostly won't bother you. They're looking for like other insects to eat, so they can eat like bad arachnids like brown recluse spiders. I haven't really seen one in here ever, but supposedly you're not supposed to kill them, but I don't know. Your call. Dragonite says they bother me by existing. Well, Christian says, house centipedes look like eyelashes, but they're cute. They're cute, but they still bite. That's true. They do. They can still bite, but they're really not going to do any damage. You know, I would rather get bitten by a house centipede than stung by a wasp. I can probably say that. Some spiders are cute, Dragonite. Jumping spiders are the absolute cutest. Of all of the arthropods, jumping spiders might be the cutest. They also might be the most numerous. I think 10% of all arachnids are jumping spiders or something. This is a plant channel for anybody tuning in. I promise this is a plant channel that we have ventured into insects, which I'm also passionate about. Bane's entomology? I don't know. But yeah. What was I gonna do? Oh, we're gonna do this pot. Keep talking. We can keep talking about bugs. I don't care. I'm gonna start filling this. I'm gonna start filling this pot a little bit. Actually, I wanna put a stick down there. Sometimes I find those fantastic orb weaver spider things outside after it rains. Are you talking about? They're probably about this big with their legs, and they have the yellow, would it be called the thorax? And it's like striped, and usually their legs are in kind of an X shape. I don't know. And there's like a little zigzag in the web. They like spin a little zigzag. Or am I thinking of garden spiders? Cephalothorax. Thank you, Christian. Yes, because true bugs have a thorax, but spiders have a cephalothorax, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not quite that big, but the color sounds right, yeah. Then yeah, we're probably thinking of the same thing. Tunnel weaver webs are super cool. I've got one out on my porch right now, above my mailbox actually. But yeah. Wow, I didn't know you guys were kind of into bugs too. I say bugs, that's not really the correct term, it's insects. Bugs are a class within, or a branch in class Insecta, but anyway. I saw a meme that said basically like eating bugs, and it showed like a face that was disgusted, and then it says eating water bugs, and it shows the guy like he just had a really good meal, because like lobsters and crabs, like those are arthropods just like insects, so they jokingly call them water bugs. Anyway, Christian says true bugs have straw. Why is that thing covering up your comment? Beetles are not true bugs as... Yeah, beetles... I just learned this recently because I've been following this guy on YouTube that talks a lot about insects. Beetles are part of the order Coleoptera, and Coleoptera has like the most insect species of like... I forget how many... It makes up like 5% of all life or something, or 10% of all life. Like there's so many different species in Coleoptera. And beetles are beautiful. And most beetles don't bite either, so that's good. Like ladybugs. But why are they called ladybugs? Because they're actually beetles. Lady beetles. Sago palm is not a palm. It's a cycas. Dragonite says the scarab beetle family looks really cool. Yeah. But they also destroy a lot of plants, and that makes me insane. I think you're talking about, I don't know if it's Japanese beetles, but you're talking about the ones that have like the iridescent shell. I mean, they really are pretty. Those little brown ladybugs aren't ladybugs, they just eat your plants. I know the ones you're talking about. Yeah, they're like brownish orange. They're like a burnt orange color. And yeah, they can be destructive. But actual ladybugs are a beautiful like cherry red with different, different patterns of spots. There's black ones too, actually. And ladybugs will actually eat thrips. Is it thrips that they eat? But yeah. Japanese beetles are the ones we have mostly here in New Jersey, but I've seen a few others too. I'm a little annoyed. This summer, I actually didn't see a ton of bugs that I was able to interact with. Maybe I just wasn't outside enough. Like these massive bronze quarter-sized beetles that nom on grapevines. Oh, we can't have that. We gotta have our wine. I also like that you said nom. Oh no, my plant lights are going out. Christian says, there are sometimes plants on this channel. There are plants on this channel most of the time. For some reason we have gotten sidetracked, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna wait for this other light to go out and then I'm gonna turn it back on. We had a ton of crickets and grasshoppers this year. Hang on, let me turn these lights back on. Okay. I'm pretty sure we went off the rails like this last time too. Yeah, we probably did, but I don't remember what we ended up talking about. I did have a couple cool encounters with like praying mantises, and I did get to hold a cicada, you know, which is always cool. I love cicadas. I think they're neat. But yeah. Oh, why am I putting so much dirt in this? This is enough. All right. I think what I want to do with this is I thought about centering. I thought about centering the aloe in it, but I think I'm going to put it like off to the edge so that like the shorter plants can be in front of it, like a layered effect. Christian says, I really want to hold a leaf insect. I also agree. I think that would be very cool. Honestly, if you guys find me like a zoo, an insect zoo that I can go to and do all of this, that would be great. I will take videos. I'll make a video for the channel. Even though it has nothing to do with plants. Okay, I do have a question. I thought about putting these Tephro-cactus in with the succulents, and then I thought, well, but I feel like I'm going to end up watering the succulents more, so I don't know if I actually want to put any cacti in here. But at the same time, I'm like, these are pretty small, and if they bit the dust, I guess it's not the biggest, or like the worst thing. Hang on, let me see what these comments are saying. You can buy anything online, that's true. There used to be an insect museum where we go for vacation, but I think it's closed now. We held a bunch of insects in there previously. See, that's what I need to find. I think Wes may have found one up in Nebraska, and maybe we'll do that. I actually, speaking of Nebraska, I kind of want to go up there anyway because they have a beautiful greenhouse, like an actual greenhouse where you can't buy stuff. And the amount of plants in there that are just gigantic and exotic, I really want to show you guys that. So I'm gonna go up there and I'm gonna make a video. Dragonite says he's seen more praying mantises here than usual, which I hope is a good time because I think they're sensitive to environmental contamination, like frogs and salamanders. That's true. Actually, I think I've heard in the past that you can tell how the environment's doing by how frog species are prospering. Because amphibians have, you know, what is it called? Permeable skin. So they are really susceptible to pollution and like things in the environment. So you can start to tell if like their species are dying off and things like that, that, you know, something's wrong. Some people are, sorry, Carlos, but some people don't like amphibians. I'm like, I think they're cute, but they breathe with their skin. Yes, that is another thing about amphibians. Christian, is there anything that you don't know? That's why you're my X-Man. Where, did anyone weigh in on this? Did anyone weigh in on this if I'm going to put these in here? Because they'll fit. I can get them to fit really nicely because they're so small. I've got 2 of them. Christian says, they called me Google at work. Makes sense. I would put larger plants in the back, smaller in the front. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm just wondering if I should put the cactuses in there at all. But Mandy says just do it. So do what the lady says. I do have these 2 trichodiatomas that I did the video on. I think they're really neat how they look like little stars on top. So because I'm kind of going for like a white color theme in here. So get some sedum to spill out the front. I don't have a sedum right now. I did that video on sedum forever ago, and I didn't keep that one. I don't tend to like plants that have that kind of chartreuse color. I don't know why. I've just never been noob. I'll find a good ground cover succulent. I think that would be cool. Just not sedum japonicum, just because I don't know. I just don't like that color. I don't like yellow very much. Of course, whatever's trailing here looks yellow. Is that my golden? It's my golden pothos. It's ready to be pruned. Okay, I think we're gonna do this. Peperomia prostrata makes good ground cover. Oh, that sounds so familiar. Prostrata, Peperomia prostrata. I'll look it up. I can remember that because but yeah, I'll look that up. I mean, really, the pot's not that big. Oh, string of turtles. I thought those were really hard to take care of. For some reason, I have it in my head that those are difficult. I guess I could do this symmetrical, or I could not. Maybe I won't. Yeah, I think I'm thinking of Ceropegia. I had a lot of trouble with Ceropegia. Like, it was so hard to keep their leaves from dropping. Maybe I'll do it like that. Okay, I think I know how I'm going to put these in here now. This is actually kind of fun. I haven't done this in so long. Now they're like succulents. A lot of light, easy on the water. If I can get these to sit, if I can get these trichodiatomas to sit in here the way I want them to, I think this will actually look pretty cool. Christian says, I have both, but the peperomia are difficult if you don't know they can't get too long because they prefer to grow across the surface. Oh, didn't know that. Well, it's just like how, I don't know if we talked about it yet, but how like Epipremnum tends to, it prefers to climb. It doesn't prefer to trail necessarily like it wants to climb. Oh no, be careful, be careful. Okay, wait. I think I about got it, guys. And then I can start filling in the dirt. That should actually be quite nice. Like Tradescantia. Yeah. Are we talking about growing across? Yes, Tradescantia. Yes, see, we're back on plants. Well, there was something else I was going to say about plants. Well, I mean, there's lots of things I want to say about plants, but something more recent. Christian says, do you know the botanical names for most of your collection? I know the genera, the names of the genera for most of my collection. Do I know the species? No. The problem with species for me is that a lot of them can get kind of confusing. along with, especially with like cacti, it can be difficult to track down. Like this aloe pheasant breast is a hybrid. So then what is it a hybrid of? I mean, I know it's an aloe, but what are the two species it's a hybrid of? But yes, I know all of the genera, I think, of my collection. But like this cryptanthus, I don't know what species it is. Or that lampranthus right there. I mean, I could probably find it, because how many species of lampranthus are there, right? I mean, there's a few, but not very many of them are sold as houseplants. I remember the genera of the species. Genera of the species seems too conflicted, or whatever is easier. Yeah. Plus, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I've had a harder time pronouncing species than genera. Oh man, look at that big rock I found in there. I just think that the scientific names are a lot of fun to say. And the thing that I actually love about you guys is that the majority of you have always been cool with scientific names. Like, I talk to you guys about them, and you're always using scientific names. Latin is easier to pronounce than English. That's true, once you know the rules. But English is easier to learn than Latin. Uh-oh, we're gonna start a debate. I can feel it. Oh, hi, Ray. Sorry, Ray. I wasn't ignoring you. I'm glad you're here. This is gonna look good when I'm done. I think. We'll see. Dragonite says, my favorite thing about common names is that you can say money plant and everybody will be thinking. Yeah, that's the problem with common names. You can run into the issue of a common name being multiple plants. That happened to me recently with something. It wasn't money plant though, it was something else where I was like, wow, that can apply to several plants. But I'm trying to do this and not get dirt like all over the damn plants. Okay. What I need right now, I need like a can of canned air that I can just go spray some of the dirt out. Mandy says, different companies make up different common names. Yep. And then Christian says, we have a native arrowhead here in the Northeast, which is one of the, just like names for Syngonium. We have an arrowhead plant here too. I don't know if it's called the same thing that yours is, but it's a species of Sagittaria, I believe. Because the genus Sagittaria, I think, is mostly aquatic or semi-aquatic plants. Aurum. Ooh, aurum. There's another plant. Aurum. There's another plant that I'm thinking of that has that, that's in that genus. Aurum. What the heck is it, though? This is the hard part, is trying to get this stuff in here in a nice, organized way. And my fingers are not that nimble. Dragonite says, those are the false lilies, right? Are they? Oh, wait. Is aurum the water lilies? No, that's something else. I do need a funnel, Mandy, or something. I'll get it. It's just kind of getting them in there. There we go. This, like, these little stars on the trichodiadema, I don't think they can poke me. I haven't gotten one in my finger yet, but... Are we still talking about Arum? Like, if Arum doesn't flower, then what is it? If it's not in Magnolia Phyta, I'd like to know where it's at then. I appreciate learning from you guys. I'm more practical plant care and not scientific knowledge. Well, I speak for everybody. We appreciate that you're open to the, learning more. I love when people want to learn, I think learning is really important. I hear like people that are still in school saying, "Oh, I'll never use that," and da 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 da. I'll never use math, and it's like, yeah, well, maybe you won't ever use the quadratic formula again, but the fact that you know what it is puts another wrinkle on your brain and makes you smarter, and I think that in itself is important. Learning for the sake of learning. I'm not paying attention to comments. Hang on. Christian says they are aeroids, Arum, genus Arum, genus of about 32 species of low-growing tuberous perennial plants in the family Aeraceae. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, because like when we think about like taxonomy, so let's take Peperomia for instance. Like Peperomia is in the family Piperaceae, which is in the order Piperales. There actually is a genus called Piper. Like there is like a namesake, most of the time, a namesake, at each level. The genus Piper is, I think, the pepper plants, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Arum is the namesake for Aeraceae. Did that make sense? Maybe? All right, my little friend, I think that is enough soil around you. I'm trying to think of another example of what I was just saying, but now I'm blanking on plant families. Oh. Problem is I keep getting these big chunks, and I don't want big chunks right now. I just want little pieces that I can fill in. I'm trying not to break anything. Okay, if I can just get the center now, I think I will be done. Christian says salvia has a diverse family. Mentioned pepperonis. I don't think I've heard of it. Are there any plants in it that we might know? Okay. Oh, you turd. Ooh. There's a piece down in there that's bugging me. Get out of there. Hang on. We got to get this piece of stick out of this aloe. There we go. I think this should hopefully... Oh, no, just a little bit more right there. Use a spray bottle to squirt off the soil that falls on the plants. Or a soft paintbrush. I've got a paintbrush someplace. I was actually using it for this kind of thing. Whoops. Okay, I think this is good, honestly. Sage and rosemary are in salvia. All right. This is what we came up with. So we've got the aloe pheasant breast here, and then on either side here we have Titanopsis, and then in the front here we have Trichodiadema. So I'm just kind of looking at like the whites in the aloe, the whites on the end of the Titanopsis, the whites of the stars on the Trichodiadema. I don't know. I think that's a decent looking. Yeah, silver. I guess it is kind of silver. Yeah, white, silver, that kind of thing. Yeah, just something with a few little variety things in it. Of course, I haven't done my video on Titanopsis yet, but that's okay. We can just show it in here. Hopefully, it does well. Like I said, I don't do planters that much, but I think this one should do well enough. Esquire says, I find that succulent watering bottles have a fine enough point to get to the soil and sand out of the nooks and crannies on plants. Yeah, I just need to, that's all I need to do. I just need to clean up the aloe a little bit, just because it has such deep ridges in it. And that aloe was a total impulse buy, just because I'm like, it was the only one sitting on the table, and I just thought, you know what? I want an aloe. Because I forget what aloe I did in my aloe video, but it didn't make it, or maybe I gave it away or something, but... Knife garden. Christian says, it's not too stabby. Like, you know, oh, I didn't put these in there. But see, I don't think there's really room. Like, if I put these in there, I think it'll be too crowded. And I didn't want to put cactuses in there. So these are just going to have to go in something else. But that's fine. They just need to stop going in my hand. That's kind of annoying. Stabtastic. Yes. Oh, I've got such a mess. That's okay. Oh, here's another thing I wanted to bring up. What plants do you feel like you loved at one point and now you don't really like them anymore? Like, you know, you're like, oh, I love this plant, and now, oh, you know what? I don't really give a crap about this plant anymore. Do you guys have anything like that? We're going by, like, genus here. Tradescantia. Yeah, Mandy says Tradescantia. That's a decent one. Here's my green one. It just keeps getting bigger. It's just starting to kind of do whatever it wants. But I'm just holding on to it. Christian says, it was something called a lemon pine. The thing is disintegrated very quickly after arriving. Huh. Is it an actual pine? Because the majority of phylum Pinophyta actually doesn't do very well inside. The exception, of course, is Araucaria. But even Araucaria, which is the Norfolk Island pine, even Araucaria can be kind of difficult to take care of. Every one I've ever had eventually succumbs because I don't give it enough moisture. I don't give it enough, like, water. So, US Chippy says Alocasia. That is a classic answer. I don't like Alocasias. I think that they're beautiful plants. And every time I see them at the greenhouse, it's so tempting. Just because the leaf shape, the patterns they have, it's just, I have some at work right now actually, and I'm like, I really want to try them, but I'm like, ugh. And it's deceptive because the leaves actually feel kind of succulent. Some of the leaves of Alocasias are like very firm, and you would think, well, surely this thing will be hardy, but no. It's just not how it works. Christian says that plant is a small shrub. Dwarf lemon cypress, not sure if that is really it. Yeah, dwarf cypress is definitely more of an outdoor plant. Ray says that he hasn't reached that stage yet where he doesn't like anything. Well, you live in the prime area for growing plants. So, Dragonite says, that is a hard question. Definitely not much of a Tradescantia. Yeah, fan of Tradescantia I used to be. I had a white one. I forget what it's called. It's not Tradescantia albo. It's Tradescantia... Is it albo? Well, anyway, I had a beautiful white one, and it just started to get, like, brown on the variegated parts, and it just kind of annoyed me. But the green one's doing good. I'm holding on to it. Dragon says, I feel like I'm less interested in jade plants than I used to be because I now have so many of them. So when you say jade plants, are we talking Crassula? Probably Crassula ovata. If we're, oh, hey, see, I do know some species. Crassula ovata is like the classic jade plant. I never had very good luck with jade plants, honestly. I mean, they're easy to take care of because they're succulents, but it's the silver dollar Crassula ovata. I put mine outside this year, and it started dropping leaves like crazy. So the only Crassula I have currently is this one right here. I think it might also be called String of Buttons. I don't know the species off the top of my head, but this was one Wes picked out, and I thought, why are you picking that out? Like, whatever. It started out as just vertical little pieces, like right in here, how they're just vertical, and they were very small, and this is what it's grown into. And I just think that it's such a neat, I love the red margins and everything. I don't know if you guys can see that, the coloring on them, but it's really actually quite gorgeous. Caterpillars, they do look like caterpillars. Mandy says, I love those bouncy trees. Yeah, when they get big, it's cool that they can they kind of bounce because they're just so succulent. But it takes a long time for them to get like that. Dragonite says, I had one, then I pruned it, then I stuck the leaves in soil, and now I have like 20 of them. Ooh. That's how it happens. Let me put this back. I actually do have a few leaves from that Crassula ovata, the silver dollar that I lost, and they are starting to actually grow new plants. And I thought about maybe planting them, but I don't know. Do I really want one of these? Maybe. I mean, at this point, they're just kind of ready to go in the soil. But like, I've never actually planted them like this, just because normally I don't really do cuttings of stuff. I mean, do I just need to put the whole thing in the soil? Like, or do I just leave this part, like the leaf part out too? Just put the roots in. You'd think I would know that, but just lay it on top. Okay. I just lay them on the soil and the roots figure out where they're supposed to go on their own. Yeah. Yeah. That's easy enough. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe. I don't know why the one I had just gave up. Like, it just... I may not have been watering enough because it was pretty hot this summer, and when plants are outside, I tend to forget about them. But I mean, all my other plants did okay, except for my jasmine. But I mean, of course, the jasmine wasn't going to make it. And jasmine have to be kept fairly consistently moist, and you know, it just... I wasn't planning on overwintering it anyway. I don't hate water, Christian. I swear I don't. I watered 3 days ago, I think. I didn't water my succulents yet because they weren't ready for it, but I swear I don't hate water. I just... you know what? You guys will be proud of me. I actually took probably a dozen plants to the greenhouse to donate recently. So there's a greenhouse here in the city that I know the manager pretty well, and she will take my my donations and she adds them to her collection to like make new plants off of for her business. So, but I'm down to 70 plants, I think. But heat miser. Listen. And as far as wish list plants go, I don't need more, Mandy. Don't say that. I don't need more. Like, the reason sometimes watering gets away from me is because there are so many. And I get to the point where I'm like, oh, I just got off work. I should probably water. And then I look around, I'm like, no, because that's going to be at least an hour and a half of my time, maybe 2 hours. And I just talk myself out of it. But I think I can have a pretty varied collection, but not have to have so many actual plants. I think that, I think if I had more appropriate space, like I'll give you guys a house tour at some point, but I just don't quite have the windows that I need. Like off to my left here, there's a huge curtain that gets good sunlight coming in, but it's a door. Like you can't put stuff in front of it because it's a door. It's one of those big, and I've got the same thing down in my living room. There's 2 doors that go out to the patio. So it's kind of tough to find actual windows in this house. It's a little annoying, but I don't want plants to like take over necessarily. Like I want them to have a good spot. Like I want them to feel like they belong in that spot. This is my one spoil. This is the one place where I can put as much as I want. Mandy says you can put them in plastic and you can have more. Yeah. Christian says, I have at least as many as you do. It doesn't take more than an hour, so it could be the distribution. Maybe. Dragonite says you can put stuff in front of the door as long as they are okay with it stopping being a door. Right. Ray says, my first plant was a dendrobium orchid. What was yours? Grow lights. Yeah, Mandy, I've got all my stuff under grow lights, except for the like 3 or 4 plants down in my living room, my big plants. My first plant, that's a good question. What was my first plant? Probably some sort of cactus, because I remember being really interested in cactuses when I was like early 20s, like late teens, and I thought it was really neat that they would flower. Because that just was so bizarre to me that cactuses would develop these huge, beautiful flowers. But I wasn't really into the science then. Now it makes sense. But I would probably say it was some sort of cactus. My oldest plant in my collection right now is my golden pothos, because that one I got in 2016 at my mom's funeral. So that's the one I've had the longest. So that was what, 8 years ago? Coming up on 8 years. But I had asked about what plants you guys don't like now, because honestly, I've kind of fallen out of love with Epiprimnum. And I know that seems like a bizarre one to pick, but I've just noticed that I think that Epiprimnum is not all it's cracked up to be, because the different varieties and different variegations are actually a little tricky to take care of if you want them to stay looking that good. I'm talking about like Pearls and Jade, Enjoy, like the Global Green, Lemon Meringue, like some of those, the variegation really works against them, but I don't know. I know that makes me a little bit of a hypocrite because I did my top 5 easiest plant video, but that's been like a year ago, and I put Epiprimnum as number 1. But I even had a jade. I had a jade, which should be the easiest one to take care of, and it ended up getting root rot. Can you believe that? Me, of all people, that underwaters and keeps everything in terracotta, this stupid jade pothos got root rot. Insane. So right now I just have the golden, only because it was my mom's funeral, and then I have a Cebu blue over here, and I have an aplissimum, which is someplace where you guys can't see it. But Christian says that he never liked Monstera. It just depends. I have a Thai constellation that's doing pretty well. I like Monstera Peru, but when it gets new leaves, I can never seem to get it to get big, full leaves. It always seems leggy, but I don't have one right now, but I thought about getting another one. And like Monstera deliciosa, or maybe like the Siltepecana. See, I do know species names sometimes. The Siltepecana is really hard to find. And then what is the, I'm blanking on what the Swiss cheese plant is. Monstera, don't tell me. Deliciosa, Siltepecana. What is that called? I say it so frequently, I feel like. Okay, somebody tell me. What is the Monstera Swiss cheese one? It's, oh my gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Adansonii. Oh, thank you, Dragonite. Adansonii. Oh, Mandy said it too. Yeah, Christian, that's another one though. The Obliqua, that's the one that has the huge fenestrations in it. I was just talking about the regular one. One kind of pothos is enough. Absolutely. And then we don't like Hoya either, less Monstera. They are all the same. I'm not really a fan of Hoya either. I think I've said that a couple of times, but my Obovata is still doing very well. It flowered that one time, which was very exciting. I'm hoping it'll flower again, but yeah, I actually do love my Hoya Obovata. But typically, if I go to a greenhouse, I just walk by the Hoya section. I mean, I glance at it and I just keep walking. Like, I don't know, like they never jumped out at me, considering some of them can be a little finicky. They don't like their roots messed with. You know, they kind of grow slowly at times. But anyway, no hate on Hoyas. I think they are interesting. It's just, I just don't like them. Dragonite said, I got a Monstera Adansonii a while ago. I thought it was great, but found that it gets longer. It gets leggier than a lot of the other aeroids. I wonder why that is. I'm not disagreeing with you. I've never had an Adansonii long enough to let it get that big, but we gotta find a name for you. Esquirroo. Esqui? I like the name Esqui. That's kind of cool. I don't want to call you Petit because that just means little. How about Esqui? Esqui says Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. I do have a Rhaphidophora. It's right there. Look at how big it's getting. I'm debating if I want to get it down. Let's see. This is my Rhaphidophora, tetrasperma. It's gotten big. I probably need to stake it up soon. Like, I think it's ready. It's at the point where I need to do something with it. It is starting to lean a little bit. Rhaphidophora is another aeroid that really appreciates being staked up either on like a trellis or a moss pole or something so that it can really climb. And I've actually had a lot of luck with this Rhaphidophora. I think Rhaphidophora tetrasperma is really the only one you can find normally. There was also the shingle vine, but you don't see that much. But yeah, oh, yellow leaf. That out of there. See if I can get this back. Aeschynanthus, Mandy says she likes Hoya and Aeschynanthus, which is the lipstick plants. I like Aeschynanthus. My mom liked Aeschynanthus because the flowers are so pretty. I had a beautiful pink passion Aeschynanthus for about a year, and it just didn't do very well in the wintertime. And it got to the point where it was dropping more leaves than it was making, and I kind of just got burnt out on it. But it got so long. It got so long. But pink passion ones are very difficult to find. I've only ever found a few. So if I found another one, hopefully Wes isn't still watching. If I found another one, I would probably buy it, but I haven't yet, so that's why I don't have one. Yeah, oh wait, yeah, Rhaphidophora decursiva is the one that, what do they call it, like dragon vine or something? Because I think I've seen them mistakenly called like philodendron before too. But yeah, decursiva is the one that is, yeah. The other one, the shingle vine, is called Rhaphidophora. Well, you all know I'm not going to be able to think of the species name, but dragon tail, that's it. That was the one. Decursiva is called dragon tail. I knew it had dragon in it, but yeah. I was going someplace else with that. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but I'm burnt out on epipremnums. I probably won't buy any more. Not that I buy that many of them, but I had a gorgeous marble queen for a long time, and it finally just kind of gave out. But what are some plants that you guys, I'm trying to think of how specific I want to be. What are some plants that you guys are either interested in learning more about or that you love that are not typical plants that people love? Not necessarily plants that aren't houseplants, but you know, you could say, oh, I love philodendron. Well, I mean, everybody loves philodendron. I mean, I think I have more philodendrons than I have anything else. Of course, that's only like 3 or 4, but you know, what are some like ones that most people would be like, wow, you really like that? Okay, Christian, perfect example. Ferns and bromeliads. Ugh. I do love ferns. I'm not hating on ferns because I actually do love ferns. They're very lacy. They're very zen, very elegant. They're just difficult, you know. For the majority of people, they can be kind of difficult to master, myself included. I mean, every time I see a big, beautiful, like, what is the genus name? I'm blanking. Is it Dryopteris? Is that the rabbitfoot fern? I see that and I'm just like, oh, I really want it, but I just know it's not going to do well. My asplenium, which is, I think it's right there. My asplenium is the only one that's ever done well. Davallia. Sorry, Davallia is rabbitfoot fern. Dryopteris, I think, is the autumn fern. I knew it was a D, but which you don't see autumn ferns that much. Or at least I don't. This is Janessa. My wavy leaf fern is dying. I can't bring her back. Your wavy leaf fern. Wavy leaf fern. If it, well, ferns in general just need pretty good amounts of water. So if you've let it dry out too much or too often, it'll start to brown. Depending on how fragile that particular species is, it might also need supplemental humidity. Humidifier is the best way to do this, but short of that, you can do the pebble tray method, where you just get the plant saucer and put some pebbles on it and then set the plant pot on top of it so that the rocks kind of get the humidity. They absorb the water and transmit the humidity into the air around the plant. Also, putting your plants together helps keep the relative humidity high. But yeah, like Christian said, ferns are just really fussy. And some ferns just die off. Yeah. I only have one leaf left. Oof, yeah. Yeah, and that's the problem with some plants. It's like once you lose too many leaves, it's really hard for the plant to bounce back because it's not able to generate as much energy for itself to regrow. Like, I'm not saying that the fern is a lost cause necessarily, but there's really only a few plants that can kind of get away with that. Like the weeping fig, for instance. You might accidentally leave your Ficus benjamina outside or something, and it gets like a chill, and it might lose all of its leaves, but it'll still bounce back. Does that make sense? It'll still generate more leaves. But Christian's the guy to ask about ferns. The fact that he is asking if it's terrestrial or epiphytic. I forgot that there even were epiphytic ferns. So, hi Ricky, good to see you. I think you're probably the person that lives the closest to me on the channel. So, hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully the weather's okay down there. And for those who don't know, which most of us probably do, but epiphytic is just a plant that will grow up a tree, for instance, and it is not parasitic, but it just kind of uses the tree to like grow on. So it grows on it, but it's not parasitic. That's epiphytic in a nutshell. Ricky says it's in the 60s. That's actually pretty cool. It's supposed to get kind of cool like that here too. Perfect weather for riding my motorcycle. I'm excited. What were we just talking about? Epiphytes. There's also plants that are epipetric. That means they grow on rocks. I've noticed here there are some native species of succulents that actually grow in the cracks of rocks. That would be considered, or lithops. Lithops would, I think, technically be epipetric because they grow on rocks. Lithophytes. But isn't that synonymous? Isn't lithophyte the same as epipetric? Maybe not. I think the not sure was for me, not the soil thing. The soil is just going to be a soil that retains moisture. Most of the time, not always. What was there was another word. Like, I think that it's important to know some vocabulary. Like, I know that not all of us are into the science of it, but you'll hear certain words like epiphytic used frequently enough that it's just good to know. I know that, like, we were talking about xylem and phloem earlier. Xylem is the water transport, phloem is the food transport. There was another one, like different terms, like the way leaves grow. You know, leaves on a vine, for instance. You know, if I have a vine, do I have a vine near me? The one time I actually need a vining plant. Wait. I think I can get my. No, that's a bad example. Like, if the leaves on the vine are like dut, 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 they call that alternating because it alternates. So I guess that would be alternating. But like, if they're growing straight across from each other, they call those opposite. It's opposite growth because they're opposite of each other. And depending on how leaves grow, that can kind of tell us what the plant is. But hang on, I'm keeping up with these fern comments. I'm letting you guys discuss. Staghorn ferns are really interesting. I'm trying to remember the genus name of staghorn ferns, like Platycerium or something. Dragonite's talking about peace lilies, how they are drama queens. Honestly, like when it comes to spathiphyllum, yeah, they are drama queens, and they will wilt when they're even the slightest bit dry. But I've also noticed that like if you don't kind of keep up with them pretty consistently, they'll start to get brown leaves. Even if you're watering, I don't know, you just really have to stay on top of the watering with spathiphyllum. I wouldn't necessarily consider those an easy plant. Like, I don't think that peace lilies are a beginner plant just because you really have to be on your game with watering. So, do you guys think I have a spathiphyllum? Yes, humidity, good for ferns. I want to do, at some point, I want to do a video, like a comprehensive fern video. We did some individual care videos on some ferns, but there's definitely certain species that I kind of glossed over just because terrestrial ferns especially, a lot of the care is very similar. It's just what degree of difficulty it is. So an asplenium is pretty low difficulty, whereas you can go on the opposite end to adiantum, which is the maidenhair fern. And adiantum is really a terrarium plant. Like, it's just, the leaves are so small, so delicate that they're not gonna survive in your home by itself, especially in the wintertime. The central heat will cook them. Dragonite says, I think peace lilies are okay, but they're marked as low light, which makes people try to put them in dark corners, but they don't really like that. They don't. And I think I would venture, honestly, if you asked me what plants are low light plants, I would say none of them. Like, low light isn't really what plants want. That's why they have chloroplasts and they have chlorophyll, and you know that's why they photosynthesize. They need light. I mean, you can get away with medium light, but low light, that's just not really where plants want to be. Not if they're going to be successful. I mean, some plants will survive, but I don't know. I think that low light is not a good term to use. Janessa says, I have to turn my peace lilies because they tend to lean towards the sun. There's a word we can use, vocab word. That is called phototropism. Phototropism is when plants lean towards the source of light. And that's why a lot of plants, when we have them next to the window, you should do a quarter turn. Maybe not every time you water, but maybe like once a month, do a quarter turn. Everybody probably has a different amount of time, but just so that they're growing evenly. Let's see. Dragonite says low light outdoors equals high light indoors. Yes. And we could get into the measurement of light and everything, but needless to say, low light outdoors will still blow high light indoors away for sure. I think we forget just how bright the sun is. Where I lost my place. I've lost my place reading these comments. Christian says ferns are low light. One type of plant also lives without any light. I mean, I guess my definition of low light might be different. Like, I feel like when people say low light, they put their plant in a corner where it doesn't get light. Like, they put it in a corner where the only light it gets is the light from their, you know, lighting fixture, which is just not enough, you know. Ricky says, I miss my staghorn. It was so large when I gave it away. It needed to be placed on that flat dolly. Wow. It grew very well in bright and direct light. That's a big staghorn fern. Somebody verify that Platycerium is the genus. I'm pretty sure it is, but Mandy says they say there's no such thing as a green thumb, just good lighting. That's something to think about. I don't know. Just good lighting though? I don't know. I feel like watering is such a crucial thing to master when taking care of plants. But Christian says dappled or shade is low light. Indoors would be more like medium light. Yeah. Dragonite says, I forget the exact numbers, but there's like an order of magnitude more lumens in outdoor settings than there is in the average indoor setting. Yeah. Janessa asks what fern is a good fern to start with. I mean, Christian, you can suggest whatever you want, but I would suggest Asplenium, just because Asplenium is so easy to take care of, and Asplenium looks really cool. It's just not as dainty looking, but you know. Christian also says not everyone has the intuition to care for plants, so disagree about the green thumb. It takes experience. I would maybe agree with that. I think that, so people come into work and they're like, oh, I've had these plants and I always kill them. And the first thing I ask, let's say they're asking about a cactus. Okay, I had a cactus and it died. Okay, well, did it turn into mush or did it turn into a raisin? Because if it's a raisin, you didn't water it enough. If it turned into mush, you watered it too much. That's really easy. But sometimes they'll ask questions about like an echeveria. Well, you had an echeveria and it died because echeveria are not very good houseplants. They're just not. Like, I mean, they're cute for a minute and then they get all weird and I don't know. But Janessa, since we're talking about ferns, let me grab my asplenium. This is my asplenium. I don't know what species it is, but it is, I think I showed it last time on our live stream, but it's just doing so well. And it is very unique looking. Is it as elegant as like Nephrolepis? No, but I think it is still very cool. But yeah, she says that's what my fern looks like. Hang on, there's a lot of things happening at once. Would be happy to send you photos of the plants I've mentioned to you. How can I forward them? Actually, Ricky, that you bring up a good point. I'm thinking about starting a Facebook group for Bane's Botanicals so that you guys can actually share your photos with me and I can share photos with you as well. I just need to actually create it, because there's been so many times when you guys will talk about certain plants and I'm like, you know, I really want to know what you're talking about, but you know, I can't see it. And yeah, I will let you know about that. That seems like the most logical way to share photos with me is through Facebook. But oh no, Wesley's phone died. Now I only have one screen again. Okay, so whatever comments were just within like the last 10 seconds. Christian, are you saying that this is a microsorum? I'm pretty sure I bought it as an asplenium. Now I want to know. On this brown part, oh, I just need to cut this off. Ricky says, don't do Facebook. Well, Ricky, I'm open to suggestions. The kangaroo one, sorry, was then thinking of that. Oh, Oh, you're thinking of, yeah, no, that's the kangaroo paw fern, microsorum. But that's not this, though. This is like the bird's nest, right? It has to be. Or are you talking to Janessa? I have a friend, his wife is named Janessa at work, so I was confused just for a minute. I'm like, what is she doing here? Does this need water? Oh. Yeah, bird's nest is, that's like one thing I'm pretty sure about. Bird's nest is asplenium, not microsorum. I do have, oh, I have two ferns because I have a microsorum over there. Hang on. Let me grab that. Oh, shit. This is the microsorum I have. I think this is a kangaroo paw fern. But yeah. Okay. Actually, that's, yeah, kangaroo palm. Microsorum is pretty good. I like microsorum is a little more on the easier side to take care of, I think. I mean, you still need to water it. You still need to make sure it probably has some supplemental humidity, especially in the wintertime. But I still think when we look at the actual anatomy of the leaf, like looking at how kind of how bigger, can I talk tonight, English major? How much bigger the leaf is than, say, like a nephrolepis or a Dahlia, you can just tell that this is going to be a little hardier. Christian says, "I'm no, Microsoft Dahlia." Oh, well, yeah, that's fair. I shouldn't say all microsorum are like easy to take care of, but this particular one isn't too bad. And no, Ricky, this one was the bird's nest because it kind of has a little nest in the middle. It grows out of a rosette as opposed to, well, yeah. They almost look like little eggs in there too. Interesting. What other ferns have we kind of not, since we're talking about ferns, what are some other ones that are pretty big as far as ferns go? Not like in size, but that we haven't talked about, like in this moment. Like we've talked about asplenium and microsorum and Dahlia. Yeah, tree ferns. Oceanopteris is one of them. I think there's another species of tree fern as well. Dryopteris was the autumn fern. I feel like we're forgetting one. We're forgetting a big one. Not Nephrolepis. Somebody will say it and I'll know it and I'll be like, oh yeah, that was the one. I think Boston ferns are Nephrolepis. I think. Oh, what is the one? Sword ferns, yes. The genus is escaping me. What is the blue star fern? It starts with a P. No, not polypodium, that's something else. Somebody look up blue star fern. I don't think it's, is it Terrace? Is it just Terrace? Dragon Eye says, what are the big ones they like to sell in hanging baskets for outdoor in the springtime? I feel like those are Nephrolepis. Yeah, those are Nephrolepis. They're either Boston ferns or like Kimberly Queen ferns. But I think they're all just different varieties of Nephrolepis. That's probably the most famous fern, to be honest, Nephrolepis. But it's also a cool name to say. That blue star fern might be Terrace, but I thought it was Phlebodium? Yes, Phlebodium aurum. Thank you, Diego. That is the one I was thinking of, Phlebodium. Also, hi, Diego. Thank you for commenting and being on the channel. Yeah. Did we hit most of the major ferns? I don't know. I still feel like we're missing one. What's the heartleaf? What's the heartleaf fern that's like impossible to take care of? Something itis, because somebody said it sounded like an illness. Heartleaf fern. I had one for about a week and then it died. That's okay. Yeah, it's definitely not. The funny thing about that fern too is that when you touch it, the leaves feel thick, like they would maybe be a little hardier, but they're not. Like they just die so easily. But it starts with an H. Hemianitis or something? I'm close, I think. They hate life. Mandy says, what is an alligator fern? I've heard it is easier. Ooh, that is a good question. See, I really should have a laptop. I wonder if I can get Wes to bring my laptop down. Because I can look at your comments, actually, and Ricky says, the fronds on your business fern will flatten out the larger it gets, like much water and just maybe you already covered this. I covered asplenium in a video, but do you really think these will flatten out? Because I don't know. I've had this thing for a while, and it's just, they have stayed kind of crinkled like this, which I don't mind. I think it looks good. Hemianitis, that's it. Hemianitis. I'm surprised you're trying to do the whole stream from your phone. I gotta go. Thank you for inviting everyone. Have a good night, Janessa. Thank you for joining us. My actual phone battery is doing fine. But, like, I was looking at your comments on Wesley's old phone, and it died. Oh, crocodile fern, Microsorum musifolium. I didn't know that was a species of Microsorum, actually. Yeah, I didn't know that. We mentioned adiantum, didn't we? Maidenhair fern. That's a joke, but they're just so hard to take care of. There are some species of aquatic ferns too. I can't think of what they are. I know one of them is called a Java fern, but I don't know what the genus is. But oh, that is Savinum? Okay. We did the aquatic plant video, but I definitely just made that kind of an intro into aquatic plants, which are fairly easy to take care of. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them are pretty low maintenance. Savinaceae is the, okay, that would make sense. I think, we've talked about like Anubias and Echinodorus, and there was another one, Sagittaria. There's another one I'm forgetting though. Mandy says she does have a terrace in her terrarium. It's getting so big I may have to try it in ambient. Hopefully it makes it. That transition from like terrarium to like real life is tough. Why am I blanking on that other aquatic species? They're not ferns. They're not, the ones I'm thinking of aren't ferns, but they're just like general aquatic plants that like a lot of people have. I mean, if they are into aquatic plants, but all ferns want to be underwater, right? All ferns just want to die, it seems like. I always thought it would be cool to have like a big tank and try to do the half aquatic, half like terrestrial. Anubias. Did I say Anubias? I thought I said Anubias. Anubias, Sagittaria, Echinodorus. Because one of them's like a sword plant, and the other one, or is Echinodorus the sword plant? Whatever. Oh, Egeria. Egeria. Anubias is a flowering plant, I think. I think Anubias is an aroid, if you can believe that. I'm pretty sure it's an Araceae. Ooh, maybe I can get the laptop. Is there any chance, what are the chances of one of the laptops being charged?
None. Why?
What do you mean none? Well, the phone died. It ran out of battery.
How's the phone on that one?
It's fine. I haven't gotten a notification or anything.
So the batteries are good on it?
Well, yeah, I didn't use my phone much today. You really don't think the laptops are charged? Why would they be dead if we don't use them?
Where's the charger for this? Just plug it in.
If there's a long enough one to reach the table. Christian says hi.
Hello. Hello.
Christian is the X-Man. He always has the answer. Mandy says, do half land and half water and get those watching fish. Wesley to the rescue, yes. Dragonite says, Wesley to the rescue. Mandy also says hi.
Hi.
Yeah, Wes says hi, guys. But yeah, I just feel like those half water, half land tanks are really hard to take care of. Like, you have to, like, kind of know what you're doing, and I don't. Like, if somebody could put one together for me, I could probably take care of it, but... Oh, that's just okay. Do you think you can see if the laptop's charged? Vivariums, that's it. That's the word. See? Dragonite knows.
What?
Nothing, I couldn't think of the word vivarium.
Bavarian? Is that a movie?
Yeah, it was a really weird movie. Serpent Design does the tank stuff. Like, when you say they do it, like, do they do it and they just... Do they, like, ship it to you? I need a laptop.
I'll get it. Give me a second.
Okay. He makes all kinds and shows the steps. Oh, okay. Like a YouTube channel. I mean, it's just, some of it just kind of depends too on like I was asking, I did that survey or whatever it was the other day about how interested you guys are in like cacti, because I definitely want to kind of explore other aspects of plant care. We've covered most of the basics. I've got maybe 7 or 8 more plant care videos I'm gonna make, and then I'm kind of done until I find other things. Like I know that Mandy, I think it was Mandy, that had mentioned Mardania. When I was out and about the other day, I looked for one. I couldn't find one. I did find the Cryptanthus, but not the Mardania. So, I mean, that would still be something that I would do. But, you know, we're still going to go with carnivorous plants. That's another reason I just need fewer plants, because carnivorous plants are, you know, a lot of maintenance. 25% said too stabby. Yeah, they are. I'm just sitting here. I think I've been stabbed more by these things, not just now, but when I bought them too, than any other cactus that I own. I mean, it's, I don't know, ridiculous. Get these things away from me. Mandy says, too bad I can't send you some cuttings. That would be nice. I just need to order one. I want to order one that is in like really good shape. That brings me to my next question, actually. I'm kind of curious. Ricky says, definitely interested in cacti. I need something that will grow in this state. Well, as long as you bring them in the winter, they'll be just fine. Do I need to put that on this side or the other side? We've got the laptop. We're going to plug it in. And then I can have a resource to look things up and actually not lose your guys' comments. But my next question was actually going to be, do you guys have 1 or 2 plants that are kind of like wish list plants that you're wanting to get. And when I say wish list, I don't mean like bucket list plants, like, oh, I want this really expensive $1,000 plant. I'm talking ones that you're like actively looking for. Okay. Because I've got probably 2 right now. Whip Away. Oh, yeah. Christian, I think you had mentioned Whip Away the last time. Hang on, Dragon Knight. I'm going to read that comment as soon as I load this up. Isn't that so stupid that it makes him disappear? There's Wes. Now we just need the cats and it'll be a family. There it goes. Oops.
Yep.
I did look into that Whip Away, but I probably won't get one. Maybe I will. I don't know. Mandy says, I'm pretty happy right now. Tide pink lipstick or variegated saxifraga. Oh, okay. There is actually... Are you talking about the saxifraga that's like, it's kind of a lighter green. It has kind of pink and a little bit of white in it. It wants you to set up your pin. I've seen them. They're not like super rare, but I feel like I had a little one and it just didn't do very well. I don't know. I just feel like variegated plants don't tend to do as well for obvious reasons, but Dragon Eye, I haven't forgotten about you. We're loading it up now. See, and that's my thing too. Like, I prefer, maybe it's just me, but I like the thrill of the chase a little bit. Like, I prefer to find plants. Plus, you can like see them and hold them and touch them and kind of see if they are actually the plant you want, as opposed to buying them online when you can maybe see a picture. You don't always see a picture, and you're just kind of stuck with whatever they send you. Like, I don't like that as much. I'm not saying that I've never bought plants online, because I have. But I don't know. It just kind of takes all the fun out of like finding them. Buying online is like waiting for Santa, Christian says. Yeah, because then you're looking on your porch every day waiting for that package to show up. I mean, it's bad enough when you buy stuff on Amazon, but when it's a plant, it's like, come on. I was the same way when I got my Licuala, just because I knew that, you know, I got a decent deal on it. But Canadian shipping is ridiculous. I'd have $40 in shipping. I've noticed that things are more expensive in Canada. I don't know why. Dragonite says, I get like that, but with computer parts. So then where do you shop for computer parts? Are you talking about like if you buy them new? What? Guess I live closest to a micro center if I didn't feel like... Yeah. I mean, the waiting sucks, but also when you come home to like a box that you get to open, I mean, it is really like Christmas. Maybe a Canadian YouTuber has one and could suggest a vendor. What? Oh. I've actually gotten in touch with Costa Farms a couple of times, just because like I was trying to get some different plants for work, And they ended up shipping me a few different things, but it wasn't really what I was looking for. I wish that, cause like their website, the plants on their website are $50, well $49, and if you can find them in the store, in retail stores like Lowe's or Walmart, they're only $20. So even though there's certain plants I really want on there, I'm like, well, I might as well wait until I can find them in store and save myself $30. Are you just gonna get the other one?
No, I gotta eat.
Oh, we're having technical difficulties with the laptop, but it's okay. I mean, it's not that I've never actually ordered from Costa Farms, so I don't know what the experience is like. But there are certain plants that they have that are licensed or whatever through them. Like technically Raven's ZZs can only be sold through Costa. But there's just some new species of Syndapsis that I've noticed recently that I think would be kind of cool to have. But what did Dragonite just say? Oh yeah, that most of your things are cacti. I've thought about getting more into cacti, but Costa and Hearts are the only Walmart vendors I order directly from those sometimes. Hertz? Are Raven ZZs still under patent? I think Raven ZZs are still under patent, at least according to the website. I've never heard of Hertz. Most of our plants at our Walmart come from Costa and from, well, I'm actually not sure what the company is, but it just comes in as Expert Garden, which is our store brand for lawn and garden, but I don't know who actually ships them. Oh, I guess there's Wild Interiors too. They'll send us plants sometimes. US Chippy says Monstera Esquilado is a wish list plant. That's a good one to have. That's a good wish list plant. I think Costa actually has that on their website right now, but I don't want to pay $80 for it. It's supposed to be a pretty good size though. I'm a little skeptical of that one too, just not that one from that website, but just in general that plant, because the fenestrations are so big that there's actually not much to the plant. So I would be a little nervous about it, you know, prospering. But yeah, Esquilado is pretty fun to say. One of the few species names I actually like to say. I would say like my wish list ones right now, I probably only have 2 that I definitely would want. I mean, I would probably grab a Peru if it was on clearance, but really, you've seen them there for that cheap? Ugh. I've got a plant guy that looks for rare plants for me. He'd be so mad to hear that. I think that the 2 that I'm really after right now, aside from ones that I would see randomly, like to do videos on, would be a Syndapsis exotica, which I know sounds really easy to find, but actually I didn't find one the other day, which kind of surprised me. I want to get another Syndapsis, because right now this one's a Tribui, right? But I want a Pictus. I want a Syndapsis Pictus. Ricky says, any crested succulent would make me happy. Crested succulents. Christian says you can find more rare plants more easily from individual growers. I actually don't know. I don't know any individual growers here. I mean, there probably are some, but I would have to like reach out and kind of find them.
How much longer you stream it
Probably not much longer, maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. Mandy says, all the silver Syndapsis look the same to me. I know that there's like an unvariegated, what is it called? Like, it's one that's unvariegated, it's just green, but really it just looks faded. It's not like it's a solid green. It just looks like the silver parts kind of faded away. But there are technically different patterns. There's like the Silvery Ann, and there's like another one, there's the Exotica, and they do look very similar. I just want one that looks kind of like that. I don't really care if it is, what type it is, but There is one now called a Mount Salac, again, sold by Costa, but I don't know. Plants on Facebook Market. Yeah. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace isn't a bad place to go if you're looking for like secondhand plants. And a lot of people will let them go for decent prices, but then yeah, other ones like you said, they'll hack up the price to some stupid number. Kind of like people that, oh, here's this golden pothos. It's $50. Like, is it though? Because it's just a golden pothos. Who cares? Picture a coral head on a stem. Hope that gives you an idea. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Huh. Dragon Knight says, I never saw this firsthand, but apparently there were a bunch of people who were basically buying. Huh. Well, yeah, and that period was. Oh, hang on. I think I may have found something. Let me click that. Okay. That was just a crazy period anyway. Like, that was back when you couldn't get, like, Cebu Blues even, and now they're pretty readily available. There was a chat setting. I clicked it, but we'll see if it actually works. Synapses would all prefer to shingle, I think. When you say shingle, what do you... Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like this one's doing pretty well still, my dark form. That's not to say that maybe it wouldn't do better if it was growing up something, but I do notice that like some of the lower growth does get a little bit. Or are we thinking of something else? When you guys say when you see them shingle, what do you mean? Well, that didn't fix what I was trying to do. The leaves overlap. Oh, okay. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody grow them like that, though. I mean, I'm not saying that they wouldn't want that, but I'd be interested to see somebody. I guess I could look it up. Or maybe the shingle vine we were talking about earlier that we didn't figure out the name to. That Rhaphidophora. Oh, okay. But see, isn't that the goal though? Like, imagine having a room where you can have crazy high humidity and just be able to grow stuff like that. Oh, this thing actually has a button on it. Okay. Now I have the laptop, you guys. Wow. Thank you. Love you. Okay, I'm going all the way back here to Dragonite when he said, I have a little echinocactus and I wanted to keep track of its growth because they grow so slowly, so I stabbed a bit of aluminum foil over one of its spines in the crown to watch it grow out. That's actually really smart. Like, wow. I guess in a pinch you could also maybe just mark it with like some paint or something, but I don't know. That's maybe a little unsightly, but Actually, a really good idea, Dragonite. Did I miss anybody else? I'm scrolling back through here. Da, da, da. Esquilado. Okay, and there we go. You can't have an indoor jungle if you think 70 plants is enough. I mean, here, okay. To be fair, I mean, I just think that some of the plants I have, especially my tropicals, will eventually get big enough that they will become, you know, a little more difficult to take care of. Not take care of, but like, I think one of the reasons it takes me so long to water is because of some of the bigger plants I have. My succulents, I can water those pretty quick, but I'm really particular about making sure that the the soil absorbs all of the water and it doesn't just run through. You could have like two that occupy that room, one room maybe. Well, I'm looking down at my living room right now, and I see a big Ficus elastica Shavariana down there sitting on a table. I see my Howia palm, my big Kentia palm, which I finally did the video on. I just haven't published it yet. My big Aspidistra Milky Way cast iron plant, which I love. I think that's all I have down there. But those are bigger plants. Like, if I put that Howia over here, I could sit it on the ground and it would still probably be like up to here. So it's big. I don't have any gigantic plants. Oh, and don't forget about my Strelitzia that's sitting out on the patio right now. It's probably super tall too. I thought about bringing it in tonight, but I don't know. I think it can stay out there one more night. Christian says, I'm actually thinking room-sized. Maybe, maybe if I could somehow convert one of the rooms, it has to be tasteful though, right? It has to make sense with the rest of the house. I'm not just gonna like take my dining room and turn it into, well, I guess I kind of already did, but Tech Plant is turning his basement into a giant terrarium. That's not a bad idea. My basement is a little narrow. Maybe that would be better. But Christian says punch holes in the punch holes in the ceiling. Why not? I thought about at one point. I don't know where we would do it, but imagine a room that could have some skylights in it, right? Okay, Dragonite, that's enough out of you. I did already do it. This is my dining room. I'm sitting at my dining room table and there's all these plants behind me. So I thought about moving them down into the living room, but how many plants are in the kitchen right now? Let me look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that's not technically the kitchen. There's 4 in the kitchen. There's like 3 in the little breakfast nook. See, they just spread like wildfire. I don't know. I have 0 plants upstairs though, because I found that when I try to keep plants upstairs, I neglect them too much. Like I just forget about them. So I like having everything kind of close together, kind of close to the sink, within kind of eyesight. I heard Wes singing for some reason. I don't know what he's singing about. See, that's not a bad idea. Christian says upstairs could be the cactus space. Like all of the cacti and succulents could go upstairs, which makes sense because in the wintertime, I wouldn't have to have a humidifier up there. Like I could still just keep my humidifiers in this area. And as long as I have my grow lights, which I do, they grow just fine under grow lights. Huh. That's not a bad idea. Because my problem right now too is that like if I could have this space where the succulent rack is and get some like better lights there, I could actually house some of my bigger plants up here. I may have to think about rearranging now. Thank you, Christian. So then I only have 70 plants. Christian says that he only has around 70-ish. How much do the rest of you have? Like Dragonite, how many plants do you have? Mandy, Ricky, Ray, if you guys are still here. Maybe you guys haven't counted in a while. I'm getting hungry, actually. Dragonite says he hasn't counted recently. I'm actually not home right now, but going to guess around 50 to 60. Oh my gosh. Mandy says 175 plus props. Whew. That is an indoor jungle. You win, unless somebody else says more. Dragonite says maybe more because of the plants, the jade plant situation. And Christian said that I have more genera than he does, which is probably true. Maybe. Like, that's the thing. Like, I've made it a point not to get too many duplicates because I just like to have a good amount of variety in my collection. I think I said earlier that I had more philodendrons than anything else, but that's a lie. I think it was, I think it is ficus that actually takes that. Because I think I have, right now I have 3 or 4 ficus plants, and I'm looking at getting a Benjamina. Ricky says, I'm sure I have the least, don't laugh, about 8. That's not bad, though. Because sometimes less is more. I think that that's part of my logic, too. I feel like if I have fewer plants, not only can I take care of them better, but I can appreciate them better. And I feel like when I had 100, 110 plants, which was, I think, my max, I was at about 110. I just felt like I wasn't giving them the amount of attention that they needed. Not just the care, but the actual physical attention. Yeah. Yeah, 8 is fine if they're 6 foot around. Yeah. Yeah. Did I finish my wish list before I forget? What did I say? Possibly a Monstera Peru. Definitely a Syndapsis exotica or some sort of Pictus. And the other one was I want to get a Thematophyllum. I've got a Thematophyllum by Pinatophyllum right now, but Pinatophyllum. But I want to get one of the smaller varieties. I want to get like an Atom or a Hope or a Xanadu. Like, I want to get one of those. That's probably the top one on my wish list right now. But if I had to pick a third one, I would probably pick, or would it be fourth? I'd like to get a Ficus benjamina just because Ficus benjamina always means something to me just because of that giant one that my mom had. And I think if you guys watch my 100 video special that I did, I actually showed you guys some photos, and there is a picture on that video of that huge Ficus benjamina. And even though I'm not the greatest at taking care of those, I still feel like I want one. There's some really good variegation patterns on them. Maybe I'll just get a solid green one. I don't know, but I don't know. I just feel like that would mean something to me if I had one. But hang on, I've been neglecting comments. US Chippy says 197, including air plants. Yeah, Tillandsia, that counts. Those count as plants. So I think you just took the crown. Mandy comes in second. I think, because I said around 70, but I think with genera, I have about 59 or 60 different genera. I guess it might be more now because I just bought those succulents yesterday, but yeah, I mean, if you can take care of them, go for it. I mean, have as many plants as you want. I'm not judging. Like, I think that it would be cool if I had the right amount of like light and space. I would probably have more plants, but I just try to balance it. Also, I'm married, so he doesn't want the whole house to be plants. But you know, he's very understanding of what I have, so he puts up with me. And the fact that when we go to like another city, I'm always like, we gotta go to the greenhouses. We have to go so we can see if there's anything cool that I can buy. See, and Christian's right. Like, if there was like a vivarium or something where they sort of take care of themselves, I mean, that's more ideal, I guess. Yeah. Mandy says, who says the spouse has a say? A little different for me. Like, I think that, you know, I think that women in relationships tend to have more say than men over stuff like that anyway. But US Chippy says, I have a lovely greenhouse filled with succulents and cacti. Okay. Well, I would love a greenhouse or, you know, the vivarium, but I'm trying to think if there were any other plants that I wanted to show you guys before. Like we'll probably go another maybe like 15 or 20 minutes, and then we'll probably call it. But what are some other plants that you guys are curious about, or that you would want to see that I might have? Like I know you guys have mentioned in the past. Oh yeah, show me how this plant is doing, or you know if maybe there's a plant that you don't see here that you want to see. If it's not too big, I can grab it for you so that we can look at it. US Chippy says cottage core all the way. I got rid of the ones you want to see updated. Are you talking about Oceanopterus? It just wasn't doing well. I knew that it wouldn't, but I wanted to try it. It was right in front of me. It was only like 15 bucks or 20 bucks. I'm like, why not? At least I got to do a video on it. You're gonna be thinking for a while, Dragonite. We've covered a lot. I can list the ones that I haven't done videos on yet. And Mandy, my Tycon. Oh wait, wrong one. This is my Ty constellation currently. It is unfolding a new leaf right now, but it's doing pretty well. It only has the one little brown spot on it. See it right there? And I notice on not just these, especially these, but like white knight philodendrons too, will get that brown on the white variegation, and that is so annoying. I don't know why they do that, if the plant just knows that the white part isn't doing it any good, and it just starts to like reject it. But it's tough to keep them looking ideal when the variegation is that white. Now, when it's just like not so intense, like see, there's no solid white on this leaf, and it still looks pretty good. But that solid white, that's a killer. Like it's so hard to keep them from doing that. It's just so annoying though that they do that. Ugh, stop that. Dragonite says, sometimes I feel bad for variegated plants like this having parts of leaves that just don't contribute nutrients. Yeah, and we've cultivated them that way on purpose because they're pretty, but the problem is when they become too variegated like that, then it's just, we can't do anything about it. They start to look nasty. I could probably cut that leaf off actually, but I don't know. White is a parasite. That's true. Christian says white's a parasite. Ricky, my totem pole is still not doing well. Honestly, I think I'm gonna slice the top off of it and just hope for the best, because it still just has that brown kind of, it's not scale, but it's like this brown like growth on it. You can kind of see it right there in the very corner, right there, how brown it is. I think I'm just gonna cut it off and start over, because it's just, I only still have that plant because Wesley likes it. If he didn't like it, I would have pitched that thing months ago. But, yeah. Yeah, well, and Mandy says she likes the philodendron Florida Ghost because it comes out white and turns green. That's a good point. You can kind of, you can enjoy the new white foliage and then it goes green so that it doesn't die off. That's like a good compromise, I feel like. A stress reaction? Let me just grab it. Okay. Here it is. Not looking well. A stress reaction? I mean, I guess it could be. Mandy says, philodendron Jose Bueno does that too. White variegation turns to green. I've heard of Jose Bueno, but I don't think I knew that it did that. So yeah, I don't know. But I think I'm just gonna go and just slice that sucker off right there. But the thing is, look though, it's starting to get it on the parts of the plant that were actually nice. So I don't know. I just don't know. What could it be deficient in? I guess that's the other question. If it's deficient, or if it's not getting something it likes, I don't know what it is, because all of my other plants are doing just fine. All of my other cactuses are fine, cacti. I don't know. Maybe this is just a bad specimen. I mean, there are sometimes you'll just get a plant that's just not a very healthy plant. Well, if it's a disease, it better not be contagious or this thing's going in the trash, which I'm tempted to do anyway, but yeah, I just don't know. None of my other plants have it, but anyway, this is depressing. The spreading looks like a pest or disease. I don't think fungal would look that dry. No, I don't think it would either. And it wouldn't make sense either that, like, if it was fungal, it's going really slowly too. Like, it's taken it a long time to reach that point, like months. So that makes me think it wouldn't be anything that replicates super fast, but I've never seen it before, so I don't fully know what it is. And like I said, I don't think it's spread to anything else, but I guess I have noticed little pieces on my cissus, but they just look like scarring. They don't like right here. See, like the white, those are just like chunks that have been like taken out of it. But like if you look right here, there's a little bit of brown, but I don't think it's the same thing. I just don't know. This better not get sick too. Dragonite says, I assume it's not like corking or anything. And then Christian says, disease of some kind. It seems like the others like the light, so maybe not that. I just wonder, I've tried scrubbing it too. Like I tried scrubbing it just with like a soft bristled toothbrush. like just kind of trying to get it off of there, and it doesn't really want to come off. Humidity can deform succulents. Didn't know that. I don't have my humidifiers running either, which is weird. But my humidity right now, well, my humidity right now is at like 52, which isn't bad necessarily. It's higher during the day, but. The thing is though, like the thing about it is that even if I could somehow get rid of that, I'm still just kind of like unimpressed with the cactus itself. And I just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of don't want it anymore, but. Yeah. Either way, I'm probably going to quarantine it soon because I didn't realize that it was starting to spread down to the rest of it. And again, that's not to say that it's a disease that can spread, but I don't know. I don't really want to risk it. Yeah, I've heard that. It's just never that like excessively humid. Either way, I think that maybe it just needs to be in a different location, or it just needs to go away. It's starting to look just like a big turd, really. Exactly, in somebody else's hands. I think that the same rule applies to cacti and succulents that applies to tropicals, as far as there are just certain species that probably don't do as well indoors. We tend to think of like succulents and cacti as being these perfect plants for the indoor environment, but that's just not necessarily true for everything. Harley G has one of those. Maybe she can help. I'd cut it way back before you give up on it. Yeah, I think regardless, I'm going to cut it just because I don't like how the new growth is. But yeah, I might look into Harley G. Maybe, yeah. That's the thing that I hate when Google like boasts about like, oh, it's AI powered now, and I'm like, really? Because half the time I search for something and I still can't find the answer. So I kind of want to cut this thing right now, but I won't. Yeah, that's true. I mean, you have to say general words, but also say specific words. Like if I just look up brown growth on plant, it's just going to bring up so many things. But see, that's why that was one of the reasons I wanted to make this channel, is because I wanted you guys to have someplace to go to get most of your answers. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. And I'm failing at that a little bit just because I haven't done more of my special videos. I just have a list. I just need to do. I want to make sure that they're good. That's why I haven't done them yet. You know what I mean? I want to make sure they're quality videos, so that if somebody has a question about, what a stomata is, they can come look at, one of my videos and be like, oh, that's what a stomata is. you know, stomatas are in the leaves and they, you know, regulate like water intake and air and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah. Although that's, you can look up stomata and find out what it is, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. Dragon Knight says if they try to use the AI to produce better search results instead of trying to synthesize the answer out of thin air, it'd be so much better. Yeah. It's just one of those things that's just in its infancy. But I think that, you know, we sit here and complain about that, but at the same time, you know, anyone who's around my age, you know, the millennials or older, Gen X, before we'd have to grab a book from the library or consult an encyclopedia to find this kind of stuff out. So the fact that we can do search engines at all is incredible. You know, we're kind of jaded by the fact that we can do that, but like another example of that, like at work, we have these work phones and they're really slow. Like they're just, oh, it's so annoying how slow they are. And they're only slow because we've had devices that work better and work faster. So it's just it's a noticeable difference. But you know, I also think about like, oh, but here's this Star Trek thing in my hand that can like look up anything, you know. And thinking back to 20 years ago when I was a kid, or I guess I would have been a teenager. Oh man, I'm getting old. To think about like dial-up internet and how it wouldn't even load pictures hardly, let alone anything else. Like, ugh. Yes. Ding 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 doo 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 doo. Like the sound that, you know, you always heard. And if somebody picked up the phone in the house on the landline, it would disconnect you. I'm just trying to play Yahoo Bingo. But like we can relate that back to plants though, because think about what the plant market looked like even 10 years ago. Think about how different it was. Think about how much more difficult it was to find rare things and how much less variety there was when you went to greenhouses. It was just it's just been kind of crazy ever since like COVID happened. You know, that plants are just going through this huge boom of popularity. So it's a cool time to be into plants, actually, just because you can find pretty much anything you want between the internet and just going to like quality, you know, reputable greenhouses. You can find so much stuff. You know, that's true, Dragonite, and that makes me think of you a little bit because a lot of times when you're on Etsy, you got to be careful on Etsy because they'll show you pictures of plants and that's not actually what you're getting. You're actually getting like cuttings off of like a mother plant, but the seeds are usually pretty cheap if you just have the patience to grow them. Hunter, you do not remember that. There's no way you remember that. Ugh. Christian, why do you want me to order stuff online for? Honestly, I probably will order that Thaumatophyllum Xanadu online, just because I don't think that's one that I'm gonna find at the greenhouses I go to, and I would rather just order it and be done with it. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. That's enough out of you now. Yeah, somebody, my friend in Venezuela called me a grandpa because I have Blu-rays. Like, or like TV shows on DVD. Like, what do you mean do you have a DVD player? Like, well, I mean, yeah. I don't want to have 4 or 5 different streaming services when I can just go buy the hard copy of the thing and watch it whenever I want and not have to pay for it. Mandy says he needs a home shopping channel for plants. Call in to order. Boy, I'd be in front of that thing all night, wouldn't I? What are they going to show next? Give me the phone. We got to call them. Christian says, I check numbers of sales and reviews on sellers, then check for the same plant on Google to compare prices. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, I check the seller too. And you just have to read the description. Normally, they can't screw you over, but you have to read the description. And if it says, oh, it's in a 2-inch pot, it's just a cutting and it has 3 leaves, like, no thanks, you can keep it. But wait, there's more. Call right now and we'll knock off a whole payment. Anyway, I think my phone is actually on the outs. It's probably getting ready to die, and we're about to hit the 3-hour mark. These things always end up so long, you guys, but that's okay. I don't mind. You guys seem to have fun and everything, so I enjoy talking to you guys and interacting with you. Thank you, everybody that was here. Thank you, Mandy and Ricky and Christian and Dragonite and Hunter was here and Ray was here and all of the other people that have been commenting and everything. Thank you so much. I love doing these with you guys, and I'm going to continue to do them, and we can keep having fun. We can talk about whatever. I don't care if it's bugs, plants, the internet, doesn't matter. Like, we'll talk about anything. I'm going to get some new videos out really soon, and I've recorded several, and I've got like 2 or 3 more to make, and then we're going to move on to other things. So thank you guys so much. Thank you. I love you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you really soon. Hopefully my phone doesn't die because I'm getting ready to call it. Thank you, Christian, Planty. Why do I keep calling you Planty? Mandy, Ricky, Hunter. Yes. Thank you, guys. I'm going to look into the Facebook. I know that Ricky said not to do Facebook, but I'm going to try it anyway because I want to see pictures of your guys' plants. If somebody has a better idea, let me know. But until then, I'm going to go with Facebook. Anyway, I will see you guys very soon. Have a great night. Have a great week. My remodel ends this week on Friday, so it's going to be crazy this week. But I'm going to try to stay in touch with you guys. And until then, I will see you guys very soon. Thank you.